Good afternoon and welcome to the latest edition of our Stargate Sci-Fi Cult Classics documentary. I'm delighted this evening to be joined by the one and only Tom McBeath, who played the role of Colonel Harry Maybourne in Stargate SG1. I suppose, Tom, it's really 2 decades on now since Stargate, your time in Stargate. You appeared in 11 episodes in Stargate SG1. Does it almost still feel like yesterday?
I'm always amazed at how big the fan base still is for Stargate. It's just huge. Getting on Facebook and seeing all the different groups that do stuff, it's pretty amazing since the thing is that old. I think I was actually in 14 episodes.
14 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, but how many did they do? 230? So that's not a lot.
And Tom, in terms of Stargate SG1, your sort of character, Colonel Harry Maybourne, he was one of the main sort of antagonists, sort of one of the guys who was trying to stop the Stargate program in its sort of development. Did you like sort of playing that sort of bad guy sort of role, dare I say?
Well, I'll say this first, that there's no way that I believe I'm in any way a military man.
Okay.
So the fact that I got hired was a bit of a shock. And then I thought, well, I guess I'll just have to ride it. So it started off to be, in my mind, it started off to be quite a one-dimensional character, just a bad guy. To get in the way of the stars and give them a rough time, and they'd have to work around all that kind of stuff. But each episode I did, there would be another side of the character that would come in. So he went from a one-dimensional to a two-dimensional to a fully dimensional character through the military stuff. It wasn't so much me being the bad. It was being the bad guy was being the bad guy. But I do know when we got, and I don't know the names of the episodes, but I do know when I got in trouble. I got in trouble and was just
no problem.
It's just trying to grab names really quickly. When Amanda's character basically told me, couldn't you take one day off in your life, you asshole, or whatever she said. And there was a scene that happened later where I think the first time Maybourne got to be kind of human rather than just a bad guy. And but that scene was cut, and it was just a scene between her and me. And then the next time I felt like I was a real full dimensional military guy was when I got out to Rick's house, out to his house, and tried to talk him into doing a deal with me. Then later, once I got out of the uniform, once I was sort of tried well, I was sentenced to death anyway. But he got me out to help him on a case, and then I don't know if he either let me go or I managed to escape myself. But after that, I really enjoyed being the sort of jerk who no one knew whether he was a bad guy or a good guy, and had an awful lot of fun after that. There wasn't much fun playing the military guy. But it was a lot of fun once that uniform came off, and I could come and go, disappear, reappear, ask for help, and offer help. So it was fun.
I suppose, Tom, in terms of your character as well, Harry Maybourne, when you sort of got the script and your agent told you about the role, what was your initial sort of reaction? Did you have to go through, was the character designed for you with you in mind, or did you have to go through the audition process?
No, it was an audition. In this business, you audition a lot. And if you get 10% of them, you're doing fine. I don't know how many times I'd already auditioned for Stargate. I know Oh, excuse me here. I just
No
have to,
problem.
I have to hang the phone up for a moment.
No problem.
Uh, I did audition for the character, probably along with another 15 guys. I have no idea how I ended up with it. As I said, I don't believe there's a military bone in my body. Um, I think I'd auditioned for a number of other things in the first year or so that they were. I wasn't in the first season, I don't believe, and maybe not even in two. It was towards the end of the second, I think, that Maybourne came into things. Um, um, MacGyver was a program, a series that was on starring Richard Dean
Yeah.
with many of the same producers. And I auditioned for that, I think 30 or 40 times, and got to the point where I told my agent that I will not audition anymore for them because I'd auditioned so many times and never got anything. Um, and after I told him that, and I don't know how long went by, but then I remember the casting agent said, "Okay, Tom, I want you to come to this audition because it's perfect for you." And it probably was. And I think I did a good job, but I never got hired for that one either. So I got a chance to sort of take it on a few of them when I got on the Stargate set, all in fun, of course. So when I get
And
the odd, when I
and
get the
Tom,
odd,
yeah.
yeah.
And Tom, in terms of your first time walking on set in terms of Stargate SG1, were you sort of taken back by the sheer scale of its production in terms of sheer enormity of the project? Because obviously it was the sci-fi show where there was huge investment pumped into it.
Well, you're always nervous stepping onto a set of a group of people that you haven't really met, except at your callback audition, you got to meet the director and maybe a producer. So you're always the level of unknown is amazing. I've worked on features as well, not big parts, but on features where you walk in and there are stars you've seen in movies where you're amazed that you're there.
Hmm.
It takes a certain amount of courage, uh, but but also if you can turn your brain off and not think, that helps a lot. So you sort of go in a kind of a dumb kind of way, kind of a dumb numb kind of way, and just take what's coming at you and listen and to be as prepared as you can with what you believe the character is, and make sure you know your lines. Um, and then it's just you just go where you're told. Yes, they have a system of the way they do things, and many series operate very differently. So you're never going onto the same set. Sure, there's cameras and there's the big take and then the close-ups and stuff, but there's different. They do things differently on different series. They have their own ways of going about things, and so you're never quite sure. Um, you just got to go in there and hope and hope your work is accepted.
Yeah, and I suppose, Tom, what was your first memories of meeting Richard Dean Anderson on set? Your sort of first conversation with him?
Uh, um, I really have no
Okay,
recollection, but
no problem.
I do know that the group on that set, they welcomed you very warmly. Um, they and every time you came back, you felt you were coming back to your family in a way. Um, uh, uh, so it was a very welcoming set that way, including Richard Dean, um, and the producers and the directors. Um, uh, it was a when you got the call to come back, it was always a really pleasant thing.
I suppose, Tom, for the last 30 seconds now, probably the most difficult question I'll ask you. In terms of if someone was creating a Stargate sort of dictionary and they put your character, Harry Maybourne, into the dictionary and they left two sentences blank underneath it, and they asked Tom McBeath, who portrayed Harry Maybourne, They asked him to put in those 2 sentences into the dictionary, to write those 2 sentences. What would you like him to read?
You know, I wish you'd sent me that question, and I could have been really clever. And now I can't be clever. I think Maybourne, the asshole who everybody hated but really liked.
On that note, Tom McBeath, an absolute pleasure talking to you today to relive your memories and your time in Stargate SG1 playing the character Colonel Harry Maybourne. We wish you and your loved ones all your best in your future endeavors, and thanks for taking the time to speak to us this evening.
Well, thank you very much, James. Glad to be here. Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers all.